And hello and welcome everyone to another installment of the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. It's Sunday night, Matt. We're back again on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you so much to everyone who showed up. We got all of our favorites here, all the warriors. We got the Captain Coon, we got Tevye, we got Kali making his first
Oh,
appearance here. First time he says he got to watch. So
all,
hello.
all the usual suspects.
All the usual suspects. Exhibit A of our fan base, you could say. It is ridiculously hot here in Canada as I record this. I've basically been comatose all day trying not to move. It hasn't been doing great for me, but I've been trying. How about you, Matt?
Well, it's been the opposite because it's winter here at the moment, so it's very cold. On top of that, we're sort of dealing with possibly another outbreak here over the
I
last
saw
couple
you
of
say that on
days.
Twitter.
Masks are mandatory now again here. And they're distancing only 100 people to every venue sort of thing.
You flew too close to the sun there, Matt. You did too many end zone dances about how further along you were than me.
Oh,
And
I
you
knew
got
it
to,
was going to happen eventually again.
isn't that the sad truth? I think Ontario is like in phase two right now. They want to be in phase two, so more stuff is open now than has been opened in a while.
Mhm.
But also, they got big worries about this new Delta variant that's
Yep.
coming in, so they're rushing to get as many people fully vaccinated as humanly possible. I think tomorrow I can finally start putting in to try and get my second
Mhm.
dose somewhere. So wish me luck on that, even if I have to go a couple towns over.
Yeah, well, I've still got to wait until the government says that like people in my age bracket can actually get it. I know
Yeah.
you can, but like it's kind of a big time waster. But you can
Of
like
course.
just travel around to like the different like
And
places
hope
that are
for
doing
the
and just
best. Yeah.
hope that they have one for you. But
That's how
I'm
my
not gonna
mom got.
not gonna waste my time doing that.
My mom did that, and she got the AstraZeneca, and now the Canadian government is getting all weird about AstraZeneca.
Yeah, yeah,
And the World Health Organization is like, hey, man, maybe give it back.
yeah. I'm waiting just for the Pfizer.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got Pfizer in me and felt pretty good after the first one. So,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's the second one that kicks your ass or what. I don't know if I'm 5G compatible yet or if Alexa can hear my
Yeah,
thoughts or
you
anything
haven't
yet.
you haven't received your kill orders yet.
No, not yet. But soon, I'll go full Manchurian candidate on all of you. Yeah, but again, even if you are fully vaxxed, you still got to wear masks anyway.
Mhm.
Not just even for yourself, but for everyone else around you. And
Exactly.
hopefully things get better. All we can do is wait and hope for the best, and just try and be smart and try and be considerate
Yeah.
to us and to your neighbors. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. We got news tonight. We got reviews. We got all sorts of fun stuff. So should we hop into the news, Matt?
Let's hop on into it.
All right, so Spider-Man is quite the hot button topic right now. We mentioned last week that Nick Spencer's run on the book would be coming to an end sooner than anybody thought, and then we also went out of our way to think, hey, who are some fun writers who we would like to see succeed Spencer? And well, this week we got our answer and then some.
We did, yeah. We got multiple answers.
Yeah, starting in September with Spider-Man 70, Amazing Spider-Man 75, but technically starting in Spider-Man Venom, the free comic book day issue before that, we are getting a brand new storytelling initiative that they're calling Spider-Man Beyond. And succeeding Nick Spencer is not one writer, but several writers and artists. It's a whole brain trust of writers.
And that's probably for the best.
It is. Again, I'm very much reminded of what they did after One More Day and then Brand New Day, where they did pretty much the same thing, where they brought in a bunch of different writers all at once. In fact, I think Zeb Wells was part of that original
Hmm.
brain trust, and from there, they all fought it out Highlander style until, Dan Slott was the last one standing. So maybe that'll happen again here. I don't know, but it's Zeb Wells, who, as I mentioned before, Kelly Thompson, who
Yep.
obviously has a lot of fan love and a lot of groundswell, and apparently she was a big choice too amongst fans for someone who they like to have seen. Succeed the book, and hey, she still might at the end of it. And Saladin Amid, who's been writing the Miles book
Hmm.
for a while now, and Patrick Gleason on art and also story too, because again, he's a writer as well as an artist. He co-wrote all those Tomasi books he liked so much.
Yep.
And also a guy from TV who's working on the She-Hulk show and who's worked on Rick and Morty and stuff. His name escapes me at the moment.
Michael Waldron?
No, it starts with a G, I want to say.
Oh, I'm not sure. I didn't see that name.
This is why I need to have this shit up in front of me. But again, so it's an interesting group of people they got filling the void. And as we can see from the 2 pieces of promotional art they've shown us, it looks like they're going into some crazy new directions, but also familiar.
Yeah, very familiar. The new costume looks great. I heard someone say that Ben Reilly's getting involved in this.
It is. By the looks of it, it is Ben Reilly, because that is an update of Ben Reilly's costume.
Yeah, because I think the premise is that obviously like Peter and MJ are going to get married at the end of Spencer's run, and I have to imagine
it, but it's what we're thinking.
It's fairly obvious that's probably what's going to happen.
She also has a wedding ring on her
they'll get engaged or something. Yeah. And I think maybe Peter, realizing that he needs more time with her, will start sharing the Spider-Man detail with Ben Reilly.
That is what a lot of people are thinking. I think that is a very safe assumption to make. The Beyond in Spider-Man Beyond 2, according to the little press release that they did give us that was very vague, Ben Reilly returns on the scene and back into Peter Parker's life, backed by the Beyond Corporation, which was the big corporation from Next Wave.
Yep.
Which is funny to see them invoking a Warren Ellis thing right now when he finds himself in such hot water.
Oh, I bet they were regretting that.
Yeah, they're like, it's fine. He's not coming back and doing anything. Right? What do you mean, Image? Fuck. We thought we were safe.
Well, he's not doing that Image book anymore. He got kicked off of it.
Yeah, and pretty much an entire younger generation of comic writers were like, we don't want him here. Which, fuck me, when Scott Snyder and everyone basically comes together, and it's like, no, not in our industry, not anymore. We're done with this shit. Okay, that should tell you something about whether he's guilty or innocent or not. But yeah, so Spider-Man Beyond, interesting new direction they're going with. I know we had talked about before, like, hey, what AAA person could they possibly get to replace Spencer? And the idea is no one person, a whole group of people, which is not only going to, dictate the new creative direction for the book, but also it's going to be coming out 3 times a month now.
Oh, Jesus.
It's coming out 3 times a month because they want to hit issue 1,000 right in time for, I think it's the 60th anniversary very soon.
I think so, yeah. And yeah, as I said before, it's probably for the best that there's now at least 3 or 4 writers on the book, just because Spencer's stuff, while really good, there's a lot. There is way too much, and there's all fat to it. None of it's been like trimmed off.
The last issue, the one that came out this week, was a lot better, but I know, those are all the reasons you kind of dropped the book. And yeah, hopefully having people who can like tag team this is going to make for something a little bit more interesting and a little bit more compelling week to week. It's interesting too, the idea. It's like, well, why Ben Reilly? Why now are they bringing him back, after shit, he hasn't had a book in forever. He was a bad guy, then he redeemed himself in Spider-Again. You've been telling me he's been Iron Man's buddy in that book?
Yes, Scarlet Spider's he's on the Iron Man's team with Frogman and Misty Knight and all that sort of stuff.
He's been a new ForceWorks guy, and I'm like, well, why this why now? And then it kind of hit me all at once there, where it's like, oh, wait, of course they want to push the idea of more than one Spider-Man right now, because that's the direction all of the movies and multimedia are heading in right now. Spider-Man, Spider-Verse 2 is going to have more than one Spider-Man. The new Tom Holland one, which I keep wanting to call it No Road Home, but it's not that.
And as well as like maybe Ben Reilly's in that new Spider-Verse film.
I think it's very safe to assume that now, because why, after so many years of kind of, sidelining him and pushing him down, are they like, no, we always loved Ben. Ben was great. We're so excited for him to come back now. Isn't this great and nostalgic? Which, again, there is a whole generation of Spider-Man readers out there to which, Ben Reilly was their Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As hard as that is to believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're certainly going to be happy. And, I mean, I think it's been just long enough now where it's like, yeah, Peter should maybe take some more time to be a mature, husband, potentially father, friend, caretaker. I don't know. And it would be cool to see the, hip single Ben Reilly kind of take up that role and kind of allow us to have the best of both worlds.
Exactly, yeah.
It's how I always thought that they were going to do with Miles forever, only to be like, no, Miles is so much of his own being. Maybe he should be more separate from what Peter is doing.
He should be, yeah.
They can both be Spider-Man, but they can both be very different types of Spider-Man. And this also got me thinking, like, wow, how many different active Spider-Man are we all going to get at once?
Yeah, we've got a few at the moment.
We do. And again, the Beyond Corporation, their whole big thing in Next Wave was that, they dealt with different realities and everything. And, they moved heroes around. So there's probably a good chance we're going to see multiversal Spider-Man. We're probably going to see Spider-Gwen. We're probably going to see all these other people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, thank you, Mace Winrude. Much appreciated.
I thought it was Mace Win-Nude.
Oh. you see, Matt and I are both dyslexic, you see.
I know, I couldn't really see the name that popped up because it's very small on my screen.
I suffer from a case of selective dyslexia. It makes my job reading things very difficult. See, every time I fuck up and think a symbol is upside down or something, that's not my fault. It's my selective dyslexia. That's the problem, everyone. You can't make fun of me. I have a problem. But yeah, so Spider-Man Beyond looks pretty interesting.
Interesting way to take the character.
Yeah, is this going to be enough to get you back on board, Matt? Because I know you kind of dropped off there for a bit. Do you think you need Spider-Man in your life, or are you okay not knowing what's going on?
I think I'm going to pick this up, mainly just because I know, like, it's at least going to be spaced out over, like, the month. The story isn't just going to be one issue a month that's just filled to the brim with way too much story that could have easily have been 2 issues or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Our other friend and frequent collaborator, Sal from Comic Pod, brought up an interesting point, too, in regards to having a brain trust for the Spider-Man book and coming out more frequently. Do we think that this is the delayed Hickman effect Marvel is seeing, where it's like, wow, having one creator act basically as editor for a whole line takes a lot of pressure off us, makes sure everything is connecting and coming together and everything? Do you think they kind of want that for Spider-Man now?
I could see that, yeah. Yeah, they need it, like that Jonathan Hickman, how he's the head of X. They need that for, like, Spider-Man.
Yeah, because so far XMen is killing it on every book, and doesn't it feel nice to have everything going one direction? And again, as far as we know, this Spider-Man Beyond thing is just going to be one storyline, but I would not be shocked at all if we started to see a bunch of Spider-Man spin-offs.
Oh, absolutely. It kind of reminds me as well of what's happening with Batman at the moment, how, like, James Tynion is, well, he's only writing... He's writing, like, the mainline Batman book, but, like, all of the other stories from, like, Detective Comics and Joker and all that are all sort of, like, spinning up out of that, and he's sort of, like, overseeing it all.
It's true. Also, thank you, Soul Bro, for the subscription there. Always appreciate it. Yeah, again, I wonder if this will eventually grow into a full-on, like, Spider-Man Inc. style scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Every borough gets their own Spider-Man. Every country gets their own Spider-Man.
Yep.
There you go. And yeah, everyone kept saying, what about Kane from the New Warriors? Is he coming back? Because we can't have Ben without Kane.
Yeah, no one cares about Kane.
Trust me, if Ben is back, they'll mention something about Kane at some point. Well, I think the last time we saw Kane was Spider-Geddon as well, right? Did he, like, die or come back? Because I never read Spider-Geddon. You did.
It's such a long time, I can't actually remember.
There you go. So that should tell you.
Carter with the $5 super chat.
Hey.
Do you think this Spider-Man synergy is due in part to Kevin Feige being in charge of creative control over at Marvel?
I mean, not until you said it, but now that you said it, I can't unthink it, actually.
I could see that, but then isn't like Sony, like, kind of in charge of Spider-Man in terms of, like, the movies and stuff? Like... Like, I guess, like, yeah, now that, like, Kevin Feige has a little bit of a hand in the comics, I know that. So it's possible. It's possible.
I mean, a lot of the stuff, multimedia-wise that they've been doing with Spider-Man feels like they've been doing to try and keep Sony happy, where it's like, look, okay, you can have Venom, and it can be its own thing, and you can reference this and that and everything, and okay, you can do multiple Spider-Man, and we'll do multiple Spider-Man over here. Just keep letting us play with Tom Holland is all we ask.
Well, remember, there was that week where they, like, pulled the contract or something for some reason. They, like, weren't getting a good deal or something.
Yeah. So again, this feels like a lot like, don't do that again. Don't make a big show of pulling any contracts again. We promise we'll play nice.
Yeah.
So who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad assumption, Carter. It really isn't.
No.
All right, then what else we got going on? Oh, well, hey, a story that actually is involved in this pretty closely. The big question we asked last week, too, is once Nick Spencer is done Spider-Man, where is he going to go? Because it seems like he's gone from big title to big title, from, doing basically the biggest, most talked about Captain America story for good or ill in Secret Empire to the big, Spider-Man story of maybe he's bringing the marriage back, maybe he isn't, we don't know, but now we finally know where he's going after Amazing Spider-Man 74, and the answer seems to be away from comics mostly.
Yeah, this was very strange.
He's apparently taking like a big time office role at a company called what's it called again? Substack.
Yeah, I originally thought it was called Subshack, and I'm like, he's like working at like what? He's like gone to like work at like a Subway ripoff of what?
By God, yes, I'm opening a series of sandwich shops now. You see, after completing everything I've ever wanted to complete in comics, I'm devoting myself to subs now.
I am going to fix the subs. Hey, he stacks comics really well. He can stack a sub. You'll feel that's one thing I want. Like that. That's one thing I want that wants to be really filled.
Why did my sandwich say "Hail Hydra" to me? Well, you gotta wait and find out. I promise it'll be worth it and very topical, though. Oh man, this sandwich is so good. Every bite is so different. I forgot that I had some ham and cheese at the back of here. Yeah, I like to spread it out. I like to spread out all the flavors so you forget about stuff sometimes. But yeah, Substack's what it sounds like is they're like a journalism company that's trying to break into the comic industry now.
It's like I saw it described as a newsletter for profit, which really confused me. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Very. Also, thank you, J. Him, as well for the subscription. Yeah, I don't understand it. I tried reading their mission statement, and like whenever, I'm sure you've heard of this when like startups start with like the same little spiel line where they're like, oh, well, we're a company that services other companies, and I've stopped listening.
Yeah.
It's very much that. Apparently they want to get into comics now, and Nick Spencer is going to be like their corporate head of acquisition. That is, he's going to find people who want to make comics, and he'll help them make comics somehow.
Yeah, I saw in one press release they want to be like a challenger to DC and Marvel. I'm like, you're not going to be that.
Okay.
You're not going to be, not with like original characters.
Everyone says that they're going to be the competitor to DC and Marvel, and they're always wrong. Just like every soda pop is, we're going to be a competition to Coke and Pepsi. No, you're not. Also, Mace is telling us in the chat that Substack actually does do some good journalism and has some good journalists on it. Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, well, I'd assume that's probably why Nick Spencer did journalism, because he was a journalist.
True, and was politically minded too. I think he actually like ran in New York once upon a time.
Yeah. So I can assume he's probably got some like a good way of figuring out if they are good journalists or not.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just put his name to something without checking.
True. I feel like we've actually learned quite a lot about Nick Spencer's politics from reading his comics, and it's interesting when you go back and look at like the platform that he ran on in New York back in the day. It was very like Rudy Giuliani, broken window policing. It's like, oh wow, this guy underwent a major political revolution in his own life and completely changed his ideology later on in life. That's you like to see it. You like to see people grow and change and everything. And I guess he's growing and changing again away from comics. Now, the big question here, and I talked about this elsewhere, the fact that his book is ending at 74, the fact that he's seemingly leaving comics completely and going somewhere else after this, do you think Marvel pulled out the rug from under him again? Like maybe they promised him 100 issues and didn't deliver?
The Tom King method.
The Tom King method. Same too for Secret Empire. Clearly his ending was much different.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But also I'd have a feeling that we'd probably hear about that if they had like a bad split.
You would think, because again, if he's leaving the industry, what does he care about burning bridges on his way out? Then again, Spencer's not much of a social media person at all. I think after all the death threats he got after Secret Empire, he had to get off social media.
Yeah, as well, since he's meant to be looking for talent and everything, I could see him, not wanting to like burn any bridges.
That too. That too. Oh yeah, again, Chad. I like Secret Empire. I have carried a torch for it. I keep saying if I ever get the
It's
time,
great.
yeah, I want to do like a 4 or 5 years later thing. Like, hey everyone, now that we've had a couple years to breathe, now that we can really take in the historical context to it all, let us re-examine Secret Empire and why it was actually genius. If I put on my YouTube video essay hat again, that's something I want to do. Trust me, everyone's gonna love it when it becomes the basis of the next Captain America movie or TV show.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's true. You're right. A guy can't have two passions. Maybe he wanted to get back into journalism. You're absolutely right. Maybe he felt he could do more good there than he could in comics. You're right. Who knows?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So there you go. All right, then. I guess we can hop on to the next story then. What do we got? So Winter Hulk is the new Hulk character that they're going to be launching this winter in the Avengers.
Yes.
I guess this is the next big follow-up story to Heroes Reborn, Heroes Return. It's going to be a She-Hulk, Planet She-Hulk type story. And I guess Jason Aaron heard how much the internet loves fuckable monsters and loves giant women, and he's like, I got to get in on this.
Well, there's that as well, but like a lot of people also hate it because he's doing this, because, you know, how dare he touch other people's comic work, because you're not allowed to do that apparently. Like they did it with the Phoenix and everything. People got really upset because someone else other than a mutant was using the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's like, well, hey, this is kind of my whole run up until this point, in case you wondered. I really have nothing to say on this one way or another. I enjoyed Heroes Reborn enough. I don't know if I enjoyed it enough to start reading Avengers Weekly, but I just thought like, haha, Jason Aaron's getting in on the giant women thing. Matt, I think for the comic multiverse for 2021, if we really want to get popular and take it to the next level, we also need to get in on.
We need to find one, yeah.
We need to find, starting right now, everyone. It's the comic multiverse open casting call for a giant woman. Are you a giant woman who wants to get in on the video podcast game? You don't even have to know comics. We just need you to be here. But we need your takes and insights that only a giant woman can deliver. We promise we will help, give you the bump and elevate you to that next great level of internet fame. Starting now, everyone. The hunt is on now, and we'll go until whenever. I mean, they're probably going to want some money, which is rough because Matt and I barely make anything at this gig. We can pay you a sandwich. How about that? I will even cut the crust off of this sandwich. Then again, if you're a giant woman, maybe you can't eat bread. I don't know. I'm sure you have a very special giant woman diet that I will want to try and respect.
Yeah, we've got to keep the height. Yeah.
Yeah,
the height and mass ratio, to a specific amount.
Yeah, I'm sure you got one of them special meal plans that gets all the little things there for you, so you don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. If you're a lover of Hulks and giant women, we got a new giant woman, the Winter Hulk, who is both the Hulk and a Winter Soldier, I'm guessing by that name.
Yeah, joining the Winter Guard by the looks of it, I think.
There you go. So Red Room experiments again.
Yeah.
So there you go, everyone. This has been your giant woman update on the Comic Book. Be sure to come back next week, where we will give you more news and insight in the world of giant women.
Yeah, Giant Woman Watch 2021.
Well, today I watched some giant women. It's pretty good. I recommend it. Thumbs up. And from on there, we actually have some real news, everyone. ShangChi, the second trailer, dropped this week.
Yeah, it looks dope as fuck.
It really, really does, doesn't it? I mean, with ShangChi, it's like, there's a lot of, pitfalls here. Are they going to make it too generic a kung fu movie? Are they going to repeat some of the mistakes they did with Iron Fist? And the answer seems to be no to all of those things.
Yeah. And on top of that, we also got the return of the Abomination.
Yep, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and he looks exactly like he does in the comics.
Sure does. Holy shit. Again, I'm sure it won't be Tim Robbins back reprising it, but they're like, hey, everyone, don't worry. We remember this character exists. Which, of course, now everyone's going to be like, but when will we see the leader again?
I'm sure, She-Hulk's coming up, so...
She-Hulk Season 2. How about that? That'll be the final reveal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here, we remember this character exists as well. As the chat is saying, too, solid soundtrack for this, too. I like they didn't go generic Asian with, tinkly-tonkly pianos and everything.
Yep.
Actually, using some song choices about what ShangChi probably would listen to if he was around right now.
Mm-hmm.
They've all, oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm really gassy for some reason. They've also really completely reimagined what the whole 10 rings as a concept, what that could actually mean, both for the story and for the action.
Yeah, 10 rings look really great. I like that they're dragon rings. They're not like people like that you can put them on your finger. You got to wear them on your arm. And I like how they like shoot off into like a sort of like a magnetic field sort of look.
That's cool. They definitely set up the Mandarin as an interesting character, not only as a villain, but also just like, yeah, here's ShangChi's shitty father.
Mm-hmm.
And you can certainly get that from this guy's performance. Like, wow, I hate you just from the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, he's great.
He's really good. Where have I seen that guy before? I'm imagining he's probably a pretty prolific actor.
His name is Tony... Is it Tony Leung?
Sounds familiar.
Tony Leung.
Yeah, he's very good. So yeah, I mean, ShangChi looking super cool.
Yeah, it's great. It looks great.
That dragon there in the water there, do we think that's Fing Fang Foom? Is that pretty much assumed?
I don't think that's Fing Fang Foom.
You know, but you think we're going to get Fing Fang Foom?
Maybe a tease for the next movie.
Exactly. This is the thing with all these Marvel movies. We can't give it to you all at once. You got to wait for it.
Yeah.
Also, hey, well, we're talking about Marvel stuff there. How about that Loki from this week?
Oh, that was great.
Very interesting. Man, they are not afraid to have a really slow ass pace in that show, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like it's as if Doctor Who got better writing and a bigger budget.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, wow, this is really expensive Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This week, like literally, a cheeky British man and his feisty female companion go to an alien world and get into a science fiction adventure.
Yeah, it was great, and I liked the ending. How it didn't. I thought it was going to end with them getting on the rocket and be like, "We save people, we can be heroes," and it's like, no, we're just going to blow it up.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. That was that was a swerve for me. We also finally know what this other Lady Loki's deal is, and that is she's kind of the Enchantress, but not the Enchantress not Amora. She's the Lushton Enchantress from Broxton, Ohio.
Yep.
Who, if my comic memory serves, Loki actually kind of created her and tricked her into thinking she was the Enchantress just to fuck with people because he was playing a joke.
Yeah, and I imagine that's probably something that's going to factor into it as well.
Yeah, because she's like, don't call me Loki, I hate that and everything. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, everyone making a big deal out of it, being like, oh, Loki, first Marvel Universe Disney queer character. I'm like, well, actually, they've done others before. They just keep forgetting about it when it comes time to market it.
And, like Loki being that, like, that's not like a big deal or anything. In the actual Norse comic, he like fucked horses and all that sort of shit.
All sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
By Polly, Loki is everything. He's an old-timey god.
And you would be if you're like 1,500 years old, Of course you would be that.
Gotta spice it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Spice it up from time to time. I understand. But yeah, so Loki, pretty solid. Very, very different. Again, I'm just blown away as I watch. I'm like, goddamn, the show is so different.
It is, and it looks great.
It does. They got their own visual language going on. I really appreciate.
Yeah, I love all like the neon sort of 80s feel to it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next story here, I don't know if you caught this one, Matt, but this has been quickly evolving. Rob Liefeld is returning for X-Force for the big 30th anniversary of the team, and I guess he's writing a special story one-shot where a bunch of the characters he created are getting together to finally kill Strife. That wily Strife, that wascally wabbit Strife.
Yeah, he announced he's coming back to write the story and then immediately made a fool of himself.
Yep, in classic Rob Liefeld fashion. Ooh, hey, I got the microphone in my hand. People are paying attention to me again. Let me piss away all this goodwill as soon as I can. he went on a spree there. He started liking Gator comments, which got people pissed off. And then when people got pissed off at him, he just stopped and was like, "Oh, and let me tell you about all the money I made back in the day for all these characters." I'm like, that's a weird flex, Rob. But
I found that so goddamn sad because I caught that one where he's like, it's like back in my day, X-Force 1 was #1 on the shelves, and it's like, yes, 30 years ago. What have you done recently that's been #1 on the shelves? Nothing.
Shit.
Yeah. Nothing. That's right. And then was it? He said, I think in like the recent comics they've made Shatterstar gay or a queer character, and yeah, I remember he liked a big thing. He liked a bunch of posts that said, "Oh, he's got to change Shatterstar back to be straight as he should be," and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think he was making those comments back in like 2009, and they reared their head again.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for all the people who just subscribed there.
Thank you.
But yeah, again, Liefeld, it's Pride Month, right, asshole? So you're doing this now? Jesus fucking Christ. Also, thank you, Batman. We're getting all sorts of subscriptions right now.
Also, what's the thought? As like, this isn't going to be fucking canon because
no,
like he's not going to respect the Krakoa because again that's like another thing. Like ever since Jonathan Hickman started his run, Rob Liefeld has been one of the most saltiest motherfuckers I've ever seen. He is so upset about like it's not like he's upset of like where the characters are going. I think he's just upset that he didn't think of it.
Yeah, that people are liking it more, that people are actually excited about X-Men again for the first time since the 90s heyday. And instead of being like, "Oh, that's nice, that's good, I'm excited," he's all pissy about it.
Yeah, and he got really pissy because they didn't include Major X, which is, of course, he's including in this story. He's his on the cover there. His newest OC, Don't Touch,
Do Not Steal. What a fucking original character. So what if he had a helmet but an X on it?
Yeah, thank you, Addie Adams, for the subscription.
Hey. But yeah, so this story looks ridiculous because of course, I mean, just look at it. He drew it. It looks bad. His art's always looked bad.
Yeah, I won't be picking this up because I just refuse to support him or anything. And the story, it's not going to matter anyone. No one's going to give a shit about it.
No, because Hickman didn't sign off on this, and why would he? In fact, Hickman wouldn't do it because Hickman doesn't seem like this bitter type of person. It's like, yeah, and then I killed all those characters. They'll get resurrected eventually.
Yeah, he doesn't seem bitter, but I'd like the next week, like there's an issue with all these characters on it, and they're all like Shatterstar's gay, and all these characters are just like completely different to what Liefeld wrote them, and they'll probably end up better for it.
Yeah. Just like all the things he hates, but that would be funny. I'd like that very much. So yeah, well, old man Liefeld yells at clouds. Basically, is the long and short of this story.
Yeah, I still have I follow him on Twitter just because of his shitty takes. Like they're just it's like an old man yells at a cloud, and it's hilarious.
Regularly. It's funny too. People were very quick to be like, "Hey man, here's Rob Liefeld being shitty in the year 2021. Here's also Todd McFarlane, who is actually there's a picture of him that's been making the rounds.
The Chad McFarlane and the Virgin Liefeld.
Thank you. Now, did you know that picture of Todd McFarlane that everyone's been loving online right now with the shirt that says "Proud Father"? I didn't even know Todd McFarlane had a queer kid, but there you go.
No, I didn't even know he had either.
I didn't know either. Good on him for being supportive, seeing that so many people from his ilk from the Image days can be so shitty. But that image making the rounds, that's from an interview that Sal conducted over on Comic Pop.
Oh, nice.
I got bumped for that interview. He's like, "Hey, man, I got Todd McFarlane coming on tomorrow." I'm like, "That's fine. You can bump me for him." And I love that that's making the rounds, and I love that's been a thing right now. But yeah, that's just funny.
That's great.
Some people doing so much better from the Image heyday, some people not. And hey, I bought Spawn Universe this week. I'm not buying this. I will read Spawn Universe at some point. I ain't reading this way past its prime cable bullshit.
Yeah, I'd hope people I am sure people are going to post pages from it and everything, because I'm like intrigued just to see like, well, what is Liefeld like? What's he like writing in 2021?
Yeah. Also, too, I guess it should tell us how much Hickman cared about all of this era of stuff, because even when all these other villains freaking showed up in Krakoa, Strife didn't.
Yeah, well, yeah, and like all these heroes, like again, like Deadpool, and like this version of Cable and Major X and all that. Like, yeah, none of these characters like really appeared in any of his X-Men, but like he went out of the way to make Cable a child again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, just doesn't care about these characters, and like, really, why should you? Because they're really thin. Really,
Of course.
you know,
It's other writers that made them worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, he doesn't get Deadpool. He gets this weird monster Venom version of Deadpool. Who might be the same or not. I don't actually know because I don't read fucking Rob Liefeld shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that piece of news for you, everyone. Moving on next, Conan the Barbarian is celebrating 300 issues at Marvel quite soon.
That's insane.
Very much so. They got a big, super packed, special anniversary issue with a bunch of different writers coming in to do stuff. Obviously, Jim Zub's been holding down that book for a long time, fan of the show. Love the cover they did for this 300th issue because it's totally a reference to the original Spider-Man cover.
Yeah, it's great.
It's cool. It's wonderful. Never did I think Conan would end up finding such a good home at Marvel and really find an audience, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's always going to be an audience for, like, sword and sorcery stuff, and especially for someone like Conan, who's, like, the grandfather of that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. Filling a void, feeding a hungry audience that doesn't normally get this stuff and staying true to the Conan material, too,
Mm-hmm.
and, making the rights holders happy and everything, which I really appreciate. Also, too, there's a guy who drives cab in this area. When he found out I was a comic book guy, he talked about all his old original Marvel Conans that he had.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, you think any of those are worth any money right now? And I'm like, wait till they probably make a new movie or TV show. And yeah, probably. I see this 300th issue now, and I go to eBay and look at the prices of some old Conans. Yeah, that guy should definitely start selling them now. They're actually worth a lot now again. Yes, Kazar and Conan are in the same universe, and Kazar is getting a book again. Honestly, Kazar is more of a Tarzan thing than a Conan thing, but they're both very in the same era of pulp heroes to answer the chat.
Well, hey, Conan's in the Marvel universe. He's part of an Avengers team.
I know, crazy, right?
And that's the thing, like, he's great on it. Like, the issues I read through, like, through King in Black and War of the Realms, like he's fucking amazing on that team with Venom and all that.
Yeah. Again, I sadly don't get to read as much of the new Conan as I want to because, again, I have like 13 books a week and 3 of those are X-Men now. But every time I do get to read some, which thankfully Jim Zub was nice enough to let me read some when I had to interview him there that one time, they've been great and I love them.
Yeah.
Again, I keep saying if I have a long plane ride or a short prison stint, I'll finally get to read all these books that I want to read. Just once I'd like the power of the turtle, the slow force, so I could slow things down and have enough time.
to read everything, yeah.
Read that, play all the video games to completion I haven't played yet, finish all the shows. I still haven't finished MODOK. I still got to watch that. I'm still working my way through It's Always Sunny for the first time, and that's on the app. I bought Dropout so I could watch more Dimension 20. There's just not enough hours in the day for me, I swear. Is why I need an intern assistant, someone who can just, what is it? Give me the gist of that, please.
Yeah, give me reports on everything.
Yeah, give me reports on my desk. See, back when we worked at Name Redacted, that's basically what we were. We were guys who did versions of that for someone else. That was the smart thing to do. Just get a bunch of little minions to go do shit for you. But there's your Conan news, everyone. If you're a Conan fan, you got a lot of stuff to be really excited for.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of X-Men and the 3 new books a week, solicitations came out. They got a lot of people super invested and a lot of wheels turning there. Apparently, the High Evolutionary will be returning as early as issue 3, and a lot of people are wondering, are they finally going to revisit the new origin for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and are they going to maybe try and set it back now?
I think they will, and we'll talk about that when we talk about what comics you read, because that was a really big issue that I think everyone who's reading Hickman's X-Men should read, whether you're reading Sword or not.
See, I was thinking of it. There was actually a thing in Way of X this week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read that yet this week?
I haven't read that one yet, but I did hear there was something in that as well.
There's a Scarlet Witch thing in that, too.
Yeah.
So between this, the stuff in the X-Men books we're going to read we're going to talk about this week, and that Darkhold event that they're coming up with, they're actually seeking to imply that maybe Wanda will be Sorcerer Supreme at the end of that.
Yeah. And
wouldn't the X-Men love that, to have an X-Men also be a Sorcerer Supreme?
Oh, absolutely. they'll come begging to her.
Wouldn't that be great for Krakoa and everything they're doing? Haha, we also control the person that controls most of the magic. And we took a planet. But yeah, so I mean, that's basically the long and short of that story, and that is, hey, if you're invested in the ongoing Scarlet Witch saga, there you go.
Yeah, it's been building up really well in as the backstory for like this whole XMen stuff. Like, you had every now and then an issues with her being referenced as like a boogeyman.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, that's basically all the news for this week, everyone. All the news that was fit to print, which was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Suppose we can hop on over to what we read this week, and I read a lot this week. I almost got everything read, not all of it. I had to push a bunch of stuff back.
Same.
How much did I read? I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I read 7 things this week.
Oh, nice.
All right, where would we like to begin, Matt?
DC Comics started their new summer event with Infinite Frontier.
Yes, that's right. Is it an event or is it just a book?
It's a bit of both.
It kind of is. It certainly feels like an event, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It's like 6 issues or something. 7 if you count the 0 issue.
It feels like an event, and also when I had the choice between this and Justice League this week, I picked that up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be there's some big implications because it spins right out of death metal.
Massive implications. Also, too, it's like, man, they're referencing death metal. Death metal was like 3 years ago. I mean, I know it wasn't, but it feels like it was like 3 years ago. So where do we want to start in this one, Matt? Because a lot of stuff happened in this one.
Yeah, so we learned that everyone on Earth, like just normal people, now know that the multiverse exists.
Which is a very interesting wrinkle. I don't think any other story has ever.
Yeah, I think this is like
before.
the first Crisis event and event in DC history that has done it. I think there was like some hints of it in like Final Crisis with like, but I think that was just like a certain group of people knowing about the multiverse.
Yeah, generally, if you're not part of the superhero community or part of their extended circle of friends and family, average Joe Schmo schmucks don't know about multiverses and everything else.
And now they do, and it goes over about as well as you would think, whereas that a lot of people are terrified. A lot of people think that it's just fake news, government putting drugs in the water sort of thing, and people who think that because they remember it, or they remember it death metal, because there's some people that remember what happened at death metal, that they're special.
Yes,
which is probably going to lead to some cult or something.
Oh yeah, doesn't it always? I personally like the idea they were espousing there, where it's like, yeah, imagine if there was a multiverse. Imagine if you knew there were multiple different versions of you that existed out there somewhere, and on some Earths you're living better, and on some Earths you're living worse. How would that make you feel?
Yeah.
It would fuck you up, is what it would do. And that's basically what happens, is fucking people up.
Yeah, while the world deals with that, we've got the Flash, who's just like traveling through the multiverse for the totality, looking at like different Earths and trying to like sort of figure out what's going on. And
goes to all the big ones: Kingdom Come, Red Sun.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're all existing, and he's trying to get to the Omega Earth, and he learns that if he runs through all of the multiverses, he can get there because of the multiversal energy buildup. And he gets there and meets Psycho Pirate, a new and improved Psycho Pirate.
Yes, who again exposes his great power to know everything that happens in the universes, even in between the crises, and he's looking different. He's got the Omega symbol on his chest.
Yeah, his story is actually detailed in this week's Infinite Crisis Secret Files that came out today as recorded. I haven't read it yet, but it is in that. Yeah.
That sounds important. That sounds like I should read that.
You should read the whole Secret Files series. It's like 6 issues long, and it's like mini books because it's all digital.
Right.
Yeah, it's all fantastic stuff. But yeah, he's working for Darkseid. Darkseid's his boss now.
Which is crazy, but it makes sense because, Psycho Pirate is on this certain level of cosmic omnipotence. So yeah, he should be the guy. There's a great scene in the art where Psycho Pirate is fucking with Flash, and he literally jumps between like several
Eras.
different art
It
styles.
looks so cool, didn't it? Yeah.
It's a beautiful effect. It's really, really, really awesome.
Yeah, and he seemingly wants to team with the Flash as well, because as he says, they're on the same side this time. So that made me think, I was like, oh, is Darkseid going to be like a hero this time around? Like, is he doing this like help the universe?
That'd be something. I like the idea too, where it's like, oh look, Psycho Pirate is an actual character with agency now, and not some lame storytelling device like he was in Tom King's Batman. And that's not the only holdover from Tom King's Batman, is it, Matt?
No, it's not.
Yeah, because freaking Thomas Wayne, the Flashpoint Batman, gets put in a Superman-style rocket and jettisoned to Earth 23.
I love that fake out where you see like the opening
Same.
page and you think, oh, this is like Superman's origin, and their rocket crashes in like a field and it's fucking Batman, and he gets sent to Calvin Ellis's parents.
Yeah, I love Calvin Ellis's parents on this one too. Man, we moved out to the country to get away from this shit. Should we call our son? Nah, honey, he's busy being president and running the world. That's good. I like that too, because what is it? Thomas Wayne's like, I'm angry and I'm confused, and I'm like, yeah, I would be too if I just came from a Tom King story.
I like as well that it seems to just like ditch everything that Tom King did for the at the end of that book for that character, and he's just like no, he didn't get his back broken by Bane or anything like that. He's not like holed up in Arkham or anything. He got sent to this Earth from somewhere in a rocket that no one knows what it's made out of.
Yeah. We also get to meet Justice League Incarnate, which is funny because when they pitched this Infinite Frontier book, like, oh, it's a multiversal Justice League book assembled to like stop crises. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Isn't that what Justice League Incarnate should do?
That's what it is. Yeah.
So it's fun to see them in this story and be like, yeah. I know not all of us are on the cover, but this is kind of our book. Like, the team who's stopping crisis is called The Totality, but the book is called Infinite Frontier, and the team is Justice League Incarnate. So I like shit like that.
Yeah.
And, we get to meet all the Warriors. We meet Aquawoman, we get Captain Carrot, they're all there.
Yeah, Captain Carrot, Machine Head, and I guess, because they don't have a Batman, Thomas Wayne will be joining them. I did like that he's like, oh, you President Superman, go get Flash. And he's like, which one? Barry Allen. Yeah, which one?
Which one? The universe is big. Really, really big. And I guess the big final story there, too, is we actually get to meet back on up with my boy, Roy Harper, see what he's doing recently.
Yeah, and he's stopping people from arguing about whether multiverses exist or just fake news. Gets attacked by like a bunch of people who say that he's not meant to be there, in terms of like he's not meant to be alive in that timeline, I guess.
Do you mean that literally or figuratively? I don't belong here, because there's people who would argue both are true.
And we learn that he does indeed have powers this time around, and he is now a Black Lantern.
Or maybe something else, because Psycho Pirate seemingly had the same color scheme on top of him.
He's a Black Lantern. That symbol he had on chest was Black Lantern symbol.
I don't know. We'll see. I think there's layers to this.
I think he's going to be a Black Lantern, but he's going to change what that means. Because like up until now, the Black Lanterns have been villains,
zombies.
Yeah, villain. Black Hand raising people from the dead. I think Roy's going to change that and use it for something good.
So there's been no heroic Black Lanterns, is what you're saying?
No, not really.
Okay. Didn't Hal briefly become Black Lantern when Simon Baz was there, or am I imagining things?
Possibly. I'm trying to remember. I think at one point, yeah. I know he's been a White Lantern. Kyle Rayner's been a White Lantern.
Right. I definitely think there's going to be something interesting and extra going on there, because the way he used his powers, we saw different versions of him from across the time stream in all of his costumes.
That's what I want to say. I think he's going to be a Black Lantern, but he can like raise people from the dead from the multiverse, because they're like all his multiverse. Like they're from different, like from the New 52, from Rebirth, they're all the different selves.
That's what I was thinking. Again, there's got to be something different on it. It can't be that he's just a Black Lantern, because also
it'll be something else, yeah. But it makes sense that he would be a Black Lantern as well, because of death and everything.
Because he has died before. There's also more gray on his suit than black.
I think it's meant to be silver because that's what the Black Lantern suits look like on people. They're like black and like a silvery gray.
Right. Maybe it was just an art thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Not even Death and Rebirth can Roy escape the Cap. Nope. Nope, can't escape it. It's his cross to bear. Again, it's not the lantern ring that makes you a Gray Lantern. It's the cap of the Gray Lantern. You got to put it on, but also put it backwards. It's the only way. But yeah, this was a cool book. There was a lot going on here. There was a lot I enjoyed.
There was, yeah. I'm really looking forward to this event, especially after like I've read all like the Secret Files stuff with Mr. Bones and all like the backstory and all that stuff. We had like the last one was a Captain Boomerang one, and where he's still infected with the dark metal energy, and he can like Hulk out and everything.
Shit. Oh wow!
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm guessing that's a holdover from Joshua Williamson's time on Flash, I assume.
Well, all that Secret Files book is all written by Joshua Williamson and like another writer like Stephanie Phillips and Brandon Peterson and all that sort of stuff.
All right, I might have to go check that out then because it sounds like interesting supplemental material.
Mm-hmm.
What else was this week, Matt, that you enjoyed that you read?
What did I read? We had the ending of Heroes Reborn in Heroes Return.
We did, yeah. Kind of an understated finale, but that's not a bad thing.
It's no. I said it felt kind of rushed in that this is the issue that you could tell that this event was not meant to be an event. It was meant to be like an Avengers story
Just
arc over 5 issues or so.
It's just an arc. It was never meant to be an event. It doesn't need a big redefining was it event ending, because we're just doing the next issue anyway, and there's nothing wrong with it because the story did what it set out to do. Yeah, it did, and it was a lot of fun. It was just like the heroes fighting the Squadron Supreme for the whole issue. They do. Aaron's kind of doing his own take on like, and this is why the Avengers could actually beat the Justice League and why they're cool. Like, sure, Flash is fast, but did you know that Black Panther could be fast if he wanted to be too? Why? Because the metal's a comet one time, and it could be a comet again. The metal allows him to. Vibranium. I'm like, sure, it's made of pure weapons-grade hand wavium. Whatever. And the Phoenix and the Star Brand, they get together because they're cool ancient buds, and they could totally kick Wonder Woman's ass by combining powers. Bringing him back to his Avengers 1 billion stuff. Yep, pretty much. Yep. Honestly. And what else happened in this issue? Oh yeah, we got like Hyperion's like his kryptonite is vibranium. Which is one of those things where I'm like, damn, that's actually pretty fucking It's pretty clever. Good. It's part of his, like, the meteor that fell to Wakanda is part of his home planet. Wherever that is. And also, hey, because, what is it? Because Wakanda never came into this world, never, like, unhid itself. He's never seen vibranium before, so of course it takes him by surprise. And it's why he was weak to Captain America, because of the shield. Which I love that too, and bearded Captain America just socks him on the fucking jaw. See, it's a real shame we'll never get to see that image of Captain America fighting Superman and like, don't worry, I've got a kryptonite shield. That's a pretty awesome image. Evil President Coulson, who I was very, very like excited to see him finally have a showdown with Captain America after everything that happened in Secret Empire and everything. The only problem is that this Cap doesn't remember any of those things. I feel like this, I feel like Coulson's story, like when this became a full event, they like cut a lot of his story because like he's like the architect of this whole thing. Yep. And we've barely seen him. We've seen him in like 2 issues, and then this was like the most we've seen of him. Like I was sure we were gonna get like a tie-in or like one of the issues would be actually devoted to him. Same. Yep, absolutely. Likewise. Yeah, the stuff they do with Coulson is weird and maybe my only big complaint. Because, yeah, he's been pulling the strings, been working with Mephisto literally since issue 1 of this new Avengers run. And we've never had a moment where he stopped and explained himself. Yeah, I was for sure thinking we are going to get like a Heroes Reborn, like in issue 7 or something. It was just going to be about him. Because, yeah, like, it's easy enough to understand why, where it's like, yeah, I died during Secret Empire. I blame Captain America and the heroes because they didn't save me, you know, heroes are bullshit. I'm going to remake the world with good, proper heroes. that everyone can look up to and expect, DC heroes.
Yeah, and the only way I could do that was selling my soul to Mephisto.
Yeah, literally selling my soul to Mephisto, who ultimately kind of ends up winning anyway because he still gets Coulson's soul at the end, which was all he ever actually wanted.
Yeah, as we learned, this whole thing was like a trial run to see. It's like, well, this is what one Mephisto can do with like it's like cosmic cube helahedron thing. So imagine what 615 more from the other 615 universes could do if we all band together.
Yeah, we're not the Council of Reeds, we're the Council of Red.
Yeah.
Kali with a super chat here. How many Marvel characters have now worked with or met Multiversal Council themselves, like Venom, Spider-Man, Electro, Reed Richards? Yeah, I guess there's more than you think. I forgot there was a Council of Electro.
I want them to do a story where it's like all the different councils like fight one another. So you got like the Council of Reeds fighting like the councils of Spider-Man and Venom and like the Electro and like the Red. That's like all coming in, and it's just a mess, and it's fantastic.
Then you got the Captain Britain Corps there. Does that count as a council of Captain Britons from across the multiverse? I think it does.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them out there, yeah. And hey, the Council of Red and the Council of Reeds are active at the same time too. So like, if there's not some crossover between them, that would be disappointing.
Yep.
You can't tell me there's not a universe out there where a Reed Richards didn't become Mephisto, didn't become the King of Hell, or vice versa.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That's got to be a one-shot where we follow the guy who's both a Reed Richards and a Mephisto. Yeah, the War of the Councils. That's exactly what they would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the YouTube comic pantheon? Oh, we know who that is. We know who's on that. Just saying. Just saying, we know who's on that one. I can't say it. You'd have to say it. But yeah, this was a perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable ending for this storyline. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It didn't change my life. It's not my favorite Avengers story, but it was a breezy summer read.
Yeah, I think a lot of people came in with expectations this was going to be a crisis level event when it was never advertised as such or anything like that. And I think they expected like, oh, at the end we're going to get all these changes. And we got some changes like you do in like a crisis book where like some people remember stuff, like Nighthawk remembers everything. So he's going to go off and try and fix the world again. And I guess he's going to be a villain. Hyperion's not really a villain or anything. He's just like kind of lost because he doesn't have his Peter Parker, even though he wasn't really friends. He wasn't really friends with Peter. It was more like he was like using Peter, and Peter in that universe actually saw that, where he's like called him a jerk and everything.
Yeah, apparently there was like a big difference between what Aaron wrote and what the tie-in people wrote
for what
their relationship was. Like Aaron clearly saw it as a wholesome Jimmy Clark relationship, but clearly the tie-in guy didn't.
Yeah, well, the tie-in guy saw the Jimmy Superman relationship, but then flipped it on its head, where it's like, well, what if Jimmy thought he was like an asshole?
Yeah. Oh, and the Star Brand baby is older now also.
Yeah. Of course that was going to happen.
We found a way to in-universe artificially age up the Star Brand baby so she can talk now, which makes sense.
Yeah, and Blade is the only Avenger who remembers everything.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah, they kind of hand-wave that away too, where Blade's like, yeah, Magic did this.
It happens all on like one page. That's why I was saying it was meant to be just like an Avenger story. And just probably because of COVID, they turned it into an event.
True. I will say Blade's fight with Nighthawk is the best one,
where he cool.
Where he literally dresses him down completely, where it's like, oh, did you have one bad day that changed your life and turned you into an asshole? I'm a day walker. My mother was bitten by vampires. My whole life is one bad day after another. And I'm not an asshole. And I'm like, man, that's pretty good dressing down, actually. I like that.
That's pretty good.
Take that, Batman. Also, you're a Batman. I'm a man of bats. Suck it. But yeah, so yeah, it was fine. It was perfectly fine. Heroes Return.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. I enjoyed it for what it was. Speaking of Batman stories and dressing downs, I had Garth Ennis's Black Label Batman Reptilian this week.
I read this one as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be.
It was weird, and not in like, I know it was going to be weird anyway, but it was weird in that in how the dialogue was structured.
Very.
It's very strange.
That was weird. The art kind of got me too.
Oh,
Obviously, there
Liam
was.
Sharp. I love Liam Sharp's art. It's so
I
fucking
love
good.
I love Liam Sharp too because Liam Sharp draws some really, really pretty pictures. And like the foreword of this comic, when you open it, is actually a little thing from Liam Sharp remembering Steve Dillon, who's obviously
Hmm.
not with us anymore. This book was supposed to be drawn by Steve Dillon because Ennis and Dillon are like the foremost partners. They do
Yep.
everything together. And like apparently Sharp wanted to just like do it in his style originally, but then it became more like, no, put your own spin on it. And there was just something oddly distracting to me about a guy who normally draws such pretty pictures actively trying to invoke that kind of Dylan Ennis human ugliness thing.
Well, see, I'm used to it because I read all his Green Lantern stuff, and by the end of it, we're getting that as well. We're getting like that because the story required it. We're getting like that kind
Right.
of like, yeah, ugly sort of gross stuff.
Horror experimental.
Yeah, and yeah, oh, so I fucking loved everything. I loved how he drew Batman. I loved how he drew all the people, like the villains and stuff. They all look so different and unique.
Yeah. I will admit, if the goal was to make me feel uneasy, and I'm certain it was, it made me feel
Oh
uneasy.
yeah,
There's definitely like a waking nightmare quality to this.
yeah, and yeah. So the actual story is about Batman finding out that most of his villains have been horribly like eviscerated or
Yeah.
not murdered, but they've been like maimed.
They'll never be the same again.
Yeah, and he goes to try and find out who did it. He originally thinks it's Joker because,
Yeah.
of course,
Why not?
Joker was there at the big meeting that this took place at. But apparently, it wasn't Joker. It was something else and something probably much worse.
Yeah. The bulk of this issue is Batman just kind of like turning the screws to like a Russian hood who worked for the Scarecrow to try and get him to tell him everything that's going on. And Ennis, in his oh so classic "I don't really believe in superhero" style, is like, oh, Batman doesn't kill, but Batman can very easily weaponize that idea where it's like, yeah, I won't kill you, but I'll hurt you so bad that you'll never be the same. Oh, kind of like what this monster is doing to people. Yeah, but don't say it like that, though. In fact, like Alfred, who's even more drier and more British in this, when he hears that someone is mutilating supervillains, like, oh, that wasn't you, was it, Master Bruce? No, I promise that one wasn't me. So yeah, that's Ennis's take on Batman. He's even more kind of an asshole than normal. Like shit, there's a whole thing there where there's like a boxer who is up on rape charges, and Batman goes there just to egg him into a fight so he can beat him up, even though he gets off.
I kind of like that. I kind of like Batman
Oh, I
just like
like it too.
confronting him on the steps of like the courthouse, calling him like a coward and everything,
Yeah.
and just riling this guy up.
And being like, hey, justice didn't do its job, but I'll do my job. And
Yeah.
just, you got to try and hit me once, and I'll make sure you don't hurt anyone ever again.
Yeah, ends up putting the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is about right. Seems like something Ennis would do. Honestly, I expected a little more. I expected Ennis to go a little harder. And again, it's only issue 1, so he could probably go a lot harder.
Again, is this a Black Label book?
It is.
Yeah, again, like I really shouldn't say I expect it to be like kind of hardcore, but then again, yeah, they've shown that Black Label is just meant to be just another Batman label and not meant to be sort of like like an adult book sort of thing.
Because, yeah, when you think Batman Ennis Black Label, I'm like, oh, shit, there's going to be some pretty hardcore stuff. The hardest core thing is like a really mean-spirited joke that Alfred makes, where it's like, oh, yes, the underprivileged children are coming tomorrow, Master Bruce. I guess I'll have to fumigate alone. I'm like, ow, fuck, Alfred.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing that we get, is just kind of an off-color joke from Alfred. And again, could be more, but yeah, it's a mixed bag, Reptilian. I'm definitely going to keep reading it, but it's not at all like how I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's a very strange start, especially since we don't actually know what's like murdering these people, and like I would have thought like in the first issue we'd get some hint at what it was, but yeah, I'm intrigued.
It's probably not Killer Croc. Everyone thinks it is because it's a reptile in Gotham, but we see Killer Croc at the meeting and it's not him.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, everybody.
Yeah.
What else did you have this week?
Well, we talked about it before, and might as well talk about it now, and that was Sword issue 6, the issue everyone should be reading.
Right. See, I read Way of X instead, but I think it was just as big. But you go first.
Yeah, so this is following on from the planet-sized X-Men where and the Hellfire Gala, the fallout from Planet Araco being revealed. We get a fantastic scene between Captain America and Doctor Doom on the shores of Krakoa, with Cap sort of confiding in Victor of like how he feels about all of this, and he feels disappointed because he says it so well, where it's like he came out of the ice and he was like, it was a dark time for him. He had lost everything. He had all his friends, his family, everything he knew. But then Tony Stark showed him that people set foot on the moon for all mankind. Everyone came together to do that. And he wondered about Mars as well. And obviously they didn't colonize Mars. And he had hoped that like, together, like the mutants, the superheroes, humans, everyone would come together to sort of go into the future together, but the mutants left them all behind, and he's like he's upset, he's like disappointed that that's happened, that he thought they would all go into it together, but they got left behind.
What a beautiful way to put it. I'm not mad in mutant kind. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, he's like really, and the way he says it as well, it's like really quiet and everything. He's like, oh, Steve's like really upset about that.
Which, yeah, that makes sense, because it's like, look, if we can't all work together for, the good things, then we're never going to be able to fix the bad things, are we?
Yeah, and up on the sword station, Abigail Brand is talking with the delegates from, like, the Galactic, like, Star-Lord, people from, like, the Throne World, all these people, and she's like, look, we colonized the planet, we're top people now, and they're like, so? There's one planet in one solar system. We look after galaxies. Like, why do we care? And we have our own problems because they're still dealing with that economic crash that happened in Empire with the credit.
Wow, that's been going on for a while.
Yeah. So the mutants do like what they did right at the start of the Hickman run, which is they offer these people something that will help them. And that something is Mysterium. It's this strange metal that they've been collecting ever since the start of Sword, where they went into that weird realm and collected like
the white hot room.
Yeah, they collected like the those triangles, those like weird shaped triangle things.
Yeah, they got a weird name. They're very obscure X-Men things, but
from that they were able to make Mysterium, which is a metal that is stronger than adamantium and vibranium. It's like half the weight. They could make starships that are like have thinner hulls and could fly through suns, and computers
also
that
scented will do your taxes.
Basically, it's like the best metal ever, and they give every member of the Galactic Council like 100 tons of it, and that should foster like their economic growth and everything. And it's funny you should say that, because Nova's there and he's like, hey, I'm the Earth's representative, you should have told me you were doing this with Mars and everything. I'm Earth's representative to this council, you need to tell me when this is happening. And they're like, you're busy with other things like Null and all that, we don't need to talk to you, human.
Dick Ryder getting punked yet again.
But then also he calls Brand out and says like, this isn't charity, this is a bribe, like what is this paying for? And obviously Brand's like, oh, we just want to be acknowledged that we're a unified front and we want to be part of the Galactic and everything. And Dr. Doom shows up and he's like, why should I care? Like who speaks for you? Like who's the voice of Mars? And we learn the voice of Mars is Storm. Who's now the Regent of Sol.
Oh, that's cool. And also the Shi'ar Empire owe her a favor, don't they? Because she saved Xavier's alien daughter.
That's another thing. Like Smasher is like all for this, as well as in the last issue, they the mutants got involved in the Snark War, and they stopped that, and now the new leader of those people owe them a favor. So they've been like positioning themselves to do this.
Space politics, man, wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. That's not all. At the end of the issue, we meet up with Magneto, who's like drinking alone, and he gets visited on Krakoa by Scarlet Witch. Who he actually invited, and we learn that he plans on accepting her back as his daughter, and he says he's going to fix it so that she will be accepted as a mutant now, and he'll do whatever it takes for that to happen.
Now, does this have something to do with the trial of Magneto?
That's what I was thinking.
Is Is he gonna do something so crazy that they got to put his ass on trial?
That's what I was thinking, but someone in my comments also brought this up, and I thought about it, but yeah, it's probably a bit too like complicated. I was thinking, what if that wasn't Magneto? What if that was Mystique?
Oh,
And this is her
shit.
like fucking with Magneto and Xavier, and he's gonna like kill Scarlet Witch or something to make her be reborn on Krakoa or something.
You took away someone I love. Now I'm going to take away someone you love.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They actually do some of that in Way of X this week too. So this shit actually all connects in a really fucking interesting way. The two X-Men books that came out.
Oh, I've no doubt that they were meant to connect.
Of course, yeah. Goddamn, so fucking rewarding when you read all of them. Oh my god. So we're back checking out with Nightcrawler again. He's trying to build the mutant religion and everything. He's working with Legion to try and hunt the ghost of Onslaught, basically, that's attacking, vulnerable mutants as they're reborn. And he's so stressed out at the Hellfire Gala, he just like drinks himself into oblivion and like makes an ass of himself talking to everyone. Like, what do you think we should do about the religion? I think, no Western religion is good for Krakoa. What about the 3 laws? What if we just really focus on them? Okay, what's the first one? Baby making. Let's do some baby making. And then he passes out. And then we see the party when it's over and everyone is left. But in the corner, we see Magneto having a father-daughter dance with Scarlet Witch when everyone else is gone.
Oh, yeah, that'll be like the end, because at the end, they start dancing.
Yep, so literally we see that. And because Kurt is passed out, no one saw it, no one knew, but there you go. So, wow, he snuck her on the island.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy, because he was so on board with demonizing her and making her
that's what I find really funny about it. Yeah, he's like so hardcore against her and like pretenders and everything, but he's really a big softie.
He's a softie, and yet that's also so Magneto. She's like, you're a fucking hypocrite, aren't you? At the end of the day, mutant rights and mutant this and that. For you, but not for me. I can do what I want, though.
Well, yeah. Again, in Sword, like when he's talking with Scarlet Witch, he makes it sound like oh well, like I'm the mutant hero now. I've created a world. I can do whatever the fuck I want now.
Yep, you egotistical maniac, you.
Yeah.
That's a great moment, and the rest of this issue is great too, because it's all about trying to unpack and dissect that first law of Krakoa: make more mutants, and it's an entire story about sex and sexuality, told from multiple different angles.
Nice.
And it's really fucking daring and ballsy. We meet 2 mutants there who really want to hook up, but they can't because their powers might literally kill each other. but they're really horned up and want to be with each other, and Legion's like, don't worry, I got this. I'm gonna psychically mind meld you 2 and you can fuck in the astral plane. Thank me later. The only problem with that is that he supercharges it too much. And it's like, oh no, we've completely bonded as people. I know all your dark thoughts and secrets. Oh god, I know all your dark thoughts and secrets. And it's like really horrible, and they like hate each other afterwards. But Legion's like, oh hey, all those negative emotions, that's what summoned Onslaught. I should keep doing this then so we can catch Onslaught. But also, we can't tell anybody about this because Onslaught is made up of the psychic energy of the 2 greatest Krakoan founding fathers, Professor X and Magneto. We don't know if he's influencing them or they're influencing him, so we gotta actually keep this super hush-hush from everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, also, B. Black and rewarding finally to see why Storm was leaving. A nice little moment, retrospect after Sword, plus glad someone finally rests Wakanda Empire. Yeah, true enough, you're right, because she had to leave Marauders, you're right, and she had a really teary goodbye with all of them. We're like, well, where are you going? Well, that's where she's going.
Yeah, now I don't know whether she's going to be repping the Wakandan Empire, because they're part of that Galactic, and they declined Krakoa's offer again for the medal. So they're like, we don't need that fucking medal. We've got our own.
Right. They're still mad at each other, right? Because she had to steal the sword and extra swords.
Yeah.
What is it? Nightcrawler does a bunch of shit where he's watching like young mutant couples to see how that's progressing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, thank you, B. Black again. There, I always appreciate it. We see that there's a like hooded mutant handing out birth control and shit. And he's like, hey, you can't do that. And we find out it's Stacy X, Las Vegas mutant escort with pheromone powers. And she's like, yeah, man, let me show you how stupid your make more mutants thing really is and how broken and wrong it is. One, a bunch of these mutants kill each other because, they're not compatible, but they're all like, these horned up demigods and everything. Also, notice you don't see any babies on Krakoa, Kurt? You want to know what's up with that? Because they all come to me, and she has a whole orphanage nursery of abandoned children on Krakoa.
Oh, wow.
And it's like the council doesn't give a shit about these kids. I've been taking care of them on my own because they're too busy selling drugs and stealing planets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
Yes. I love that they can call that out on this.
That's what's so great about Way of X. They're just not afraid of being like, let's examine the dark underbelly of Krakoa. And this just destroys Kirk. He's like, oh my God, I pitched this idea. Because remember, that first law was him.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's like, oh my God, what have I done here? This is so wrong. Then Fabian Cortez comes back into the story in an interesting way.
Oh, fantastic. Because he just got fired off a sword for asking too many questions about the second law.
Yeah, he wanted to be part of like the big mutant love-in that Stacy X is hosting there. It's like, it's a safe place where everyone can come and not be afraid to express themselves and everything. A woman kicks him out saying, "There, stop reading me your sad poetry, and no, I won't put the Magneto helmet on." Yeah. And so he gets all pissed off, and that summons Onslaught again, so they have to fight him off. And you think, man, this is gonna have a really sad ending. No, it actually has a really happy ending where Stacy X is like, nah, Kirk, you can't get down on yourself. Maybe Krakoa doesn't need laws and it doesn't need religion. Maybe it just needs people like you and me who tried to help today and tried to make things better. And we did. And I'm like, wow, what a really sweet, beautiful message at the end of this that is sex positive and also people positive. And I'm like, man, it's bits like this where it's like, no, Krakoa can still work. It's just that the wrong people are in charge.
Yeah, again, now that all this has come to what's Xavier going to be up to now? Because I had a theory that because there was no children or anything. Because you've now explained why. I'm thinking it's because Xavier's going to make it so that only certain mutants can get together and have children, so then they can create stronger mutants. So it's only the strongest survive sort of thing.
Well, here's the funny thing. Dr. Nemesis says that, if the council really cared about shoring up mutant numbers, they would just let me and Sinister make more test tube babies.
Yeah.
But they're afraid of, the slippery slope of eugenics, so the only way we can make more mutants is by knocking boots the old-fashioned way. And I'm like, oh, but we already know from Hawks and Pox in the future there's, breeding pits and shit, so they, abandon that idea in the future.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're probably going to abandon it. They'll be like, oh, that's a very human way of doing it, sort of thing. Can't have that.
We can do it better.
Yeah.
We can do it better. We can do it 9 times.
Yeah, more efficiently. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just, man, the places that Way of X is going and how they're not afraid to tackle some very serious subject matter and also be very critical of the darker aspects of Krakoa. I'm like, holy shit, this book is so good.
Yeah, I love this. I love Sword. I love all these books that are question, the X-Men book near the end there was starting to do it, questioning Xavier's rule and stuff and what his ideas. Because and when you think about it, the whole laws and everything, that was set up in an hour, very hastily set up and everything. Yep. And now it's coming back to bite them in the ass.
You know what it is, and what I think some people are missing when they talk about Hickman's X-Men run? They're like, oh, they're so bad now, they're so evil. I'm like, yeah, because it's a commentary on nationalism is what it is. No, every country has been built on the backs of blood and horror and subjugation and colonialism, but we don't like to think about it because, yeah, but I live here, though, so, it must be okay, and the X-Men are my heroes, my founding fathers, so it must be okay. But now that you actually get to see it through that lens.
There's also that other aspect that the mutants, they go so hard and that, we're so much better than humans, we're so fucking good and everything, where it's well, no, you're really not. You're doing all of the same mistakes that humans did. You're more human than humans.
Thank you, Rob Zombie. Yeah, you're on an accelerated course in the sins of humanity. Oh, B Black back again with us. Which mutant's character development are you most proud? And do you think a new mutant ending will influence the clone resurrection restrictions? Man, that's hard because there's so many characters who have developed so well.
I really like Cyclops's development, going from a hardcore like he was really in Magneto's pocket to being maybe not, maybe I've got to separate myself from this. I just want the X-Men to be a hero team,
It's funny, Cyclops developed to come full circle and come back to being the guy we loved so much
Yeah.
before he went nuts during Schism and everything.
Yeah.
His development is getting to be back to the guy we liked so much. That's a good one. Beast has arguably developed too.
Beast.
He's developed into a bastard asshole, but he has developed. I'm gonna have to make a video at this point to be like, no, this has all actually been part of his journey. It's just his journey went somewhere bad.
He's like where you expect the journey to be more heroic. He went in the opposite way.
Again, nationalism and power and unchecked power has corrupted Hank completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, war crime beast. We are in the war crime beast era of comics. Actually, hey, speaking of, that was another one this week. Wolverine 13, the next part of the Hellfire Gala.
Yeah, what happened in that?
So Beast sends his people to try and get all the plant monsters that are going nuts. He's like, you got to be really stealthy about this because if we get caught, it's my ass. And like Wolverine is fighting the plant monsters only to realize, oh, the plant monsters don't want to kill anyone. They just want to leave. And they're like, yeah, Beast stole our country and our technology and like enslaved us and made us come here to shake hands and be nice. And Wolverine's like, oh, well, that's really bad. I know what it's like to have people mess with your minds and make you do things you don't want to do. I'm on your side now. And then Deadpool also gets to save Domino too. Again, she tried to kick him out. Now he actually comes in and saves her, and that's a big moment. Eventually, Beast is forced to let the plant guys go.
No. I bet that hurt his ego.
Oh, he's furious. He's pissed. He's like, Sage, put the controls back on them. And Sage is like, no, I refuse. I talked to Emma Frost. And he's like, that's insubordination. And Sage slaps him across the face. Like, literally, this whole issue is just chickens coming home to roost and Beast, like, getting read the riot act. It's great. And Emma literally comes to him and it's like, hey, motherfucker, I heard what you were doing. You know what we had to do to make this right? We had to give the plant people $1 billion American, give them back all their tech trademarks that X-Corp was using, and they no longer have to recognize Krakoa as a country, and that's all your fault. And Beast is like, don't you come at me with morality, Emma. Sure, I may have wanted to try and spy on the entire globe, friends and enemies alike, but you took a fucking planet while we were all drinking. The fact is, we're both bastards. The only difference is that you're a bastard in the light. I'm a bastard in the dark. And trust me, the things that will save Krakoa and the mutant people is the things I do in the dark.
I'm fairly certain that he's just paraphrasing, I don't know, like Dr. Mengele or Joseph Goebbels or something.
Or someone horrible, yeah. Actually, I think he quotes Voltaire, actually, in the beginning of their conversations.
Of course.
Of course he does. And he also, like, kind of drops an interesting thing, too, where it's like, yeah, you caught me this time, but it's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep doing it because Xavier loves me and, like, totally will always have my back for all my bad behavior.
Oh, yeah, of course he will. Yeah, Xavier will do that whole, I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see him through my helmet, you know?
Because that's the other fucked up thing about Beast turn to the dark side. Xavier is okaying all of it.
Yeah, Xavier, like, pushed him towards it.
He gave him the job. Like, again, Beast is his monster that he created.
Yeah.
And, like, now they kind of seek to imply, too, that the Marauders aren't going to be cool with X-Force now, and that might be, like, a little turf war between them now, between Emma and Beast.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, when the CIA goes to a war with the trading companies, how will that end, right?
That's great.
Well, I know exactly how it'll end. It'll end with Xavier and Magneto having to step in and be like, "Hey, what the hell? You guys can't fight each other."
Yeah. Well, they'll say that, but then they'll be like, "Okay, Beast, you're in the right here. Go commit more war crimes. Go commit genocide against an entire race."
Secretly, we love it though when they fight each other though, because that makes them easier to control. You know, they need to. We need them fighting each other and trying to one up each other.
Yep.
But yeah, so if you've been wanting Beast to get reamed out, that's the issue for it. And that's your 3 X-Men books from this week, everyone.
Yeah. Oh god, X-Men's so good. I can't wait for Inferno to start either. I wonder what the hell's going to go on in that.
Which seems like a crazy thing to want. Like, man, there's so much X-Men now. You know what I could go for? A little more X-Men.
A little more X-Men. I'm going to be so sad when this whole thing ends and, like, whatever comes next. Like, how is that ever going to measure up to this?
I mean, same with Avengers and everything Marvel, where it's like, well, how is this going to be able to top Secret Wars? We got there eventually, but yeah, it's going to be a weird time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. What else did you have, Matt? I only had like two more.
Yeah, I had. Let's have a look here on the list. I had Batman Superman
Arkham.
issue 19.
Oh, see, I pushed this one further down because I knew it was canceled.
Oh,
Who gives a
it
shit?
was still fucking awesome.
Oh, I know. It's been excellent so far. It breaks my goddamn heart.
Yeah, so the Batman and Superman on Earth Zero get trapped in that Phantom Zone crystal. So their film reel counterparts, which are the Golden Age versions of them, have to go after Orta to save the crystal, and they end up getting transported into multiple different film reels. The first one they get transported into has them meeting up with Alana and Sardath.
Oh.
And Alana ends up joining their little team as they look for the crystal, and we find that Orta is like changed himself into like a giant like worm that has the crystal because he can do that because he's master of these things. And
He can do whatever he wants.
upon attacking him, they find out that he isn't actually a robot, he is an alien. And
Is he? I thought he was an AI. We found out last issue. He changed it again.
This whole issue explains all of that. He's a blue-skinned alien, and he ends up escaping into another world, which is a Wild West world, where the heroes change into cowboys and everything, and they team up with El Diablo, who's basically Zorro.
Nice. Yes, I know. He would always hang out with Jonah Hex and everyone.
Yeah.
He's a real forgotten one. Him and Sheriff Powwow and everyone.
Yeah. So and the team fight Orta again, and they learn his origin, and that is like when he's out of the armor, he's actually a good guy because the armor's like controlling him, and we learn that he is actually the son of the World Forger. The being from Scott Snyder's. So technically, he's
the grandson of Perpetua.
Yeah, the grandson of Perpetua.
Wow, what a fucking pull.
And we learned that he's been completely forgotten in like every aspect. Like people used to worship him, but they've gotten so bad that he doesn't even remember his name. And he'd wander the earth, and eventually he got to a time period where like cinemas were around, and he found they reminded him of like his temples and stuff. And while the people were there, while they weren't worshiping him, it felt like they were. So he got like a little bit of power. But then cinemas went away, and the smartphone came out. And because of his powers, he could see like the smartphone's god, which is like the phone signals, which he thought is a god. And he's like, well, I'm going to take over like the satellites, because if I take them, I'll be able to reach everyone and be worshipped and loved. And the satellite, which was
interesting motivation,
the LexCorp satellite, had that Orta like
the movie AI.
Yeah, that movie AI, and it like bonded with him and took him over and became his armor. And the armor is what like taps into his like base desires, which is he wants to be in control of a world and everything, and that's what led to the creation of the Archive of Worlds.
Wow, what a big ass concept.
Yeah. Oh, for a Batman Superman book.
Holy shit! Again, man, this amazing story. It's almost a shame it was a Batman Superman story, because I wish more people read it.
Yeah. So the heroes have to like try and save him, but like the armor comes back on, and he turns into a villain. He ends up bringing Etrigan and the hordes of hell from another film reel into the world of tomorrow to destroy everything.
We had seen that, yeah, because they destroyed Dr. Adam Lex's universe.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I just like as well the team they've got like Batman, Superman, Robin, Alana, and El Diablo. That's like the team.
What a cool mix.
Yeah, it's a great refreshing mix. And the Wild West stuff, that was all set like during the night and everything, not like broad daylight and high noon or anything. And it makes sense as well because El Diablo is like proto Batman.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Why aren't they canceling this? This is so great.
It's too high concept for a Batman Superman book.
I guess. Like that's the it's like, hey, sorry, Jean Lu and Yang, you got too good a concept. It's too high concept. That's a heartbreaker, but that was good. I guess another Superman book we read this week, Action Comics.
Yeah, well, we had Action Comics and Superman this week.
I didn't read Superman yet, but
I
did read Action Comics. Yeah, Action Comics looked dope.
It was, and it was so good because it brought like cosmic horror into Superman.
Did it ever?
Like Cthulhu.
Literally, he fights Cthulhu. Like when the Atlantis guy is describing, yes, a great unknowable evil that sleeps below the waves. Is he dreaming us, or are we dreaming him? Like, God damn it, it's Cthulhu, isn't it? And yet it adds up because Cthulhu is the great old one, and if
Yeah.
this piece of the source wall is as old as we believe it to be, of
Yeah.
course they would know each other and interact.
Yeah, yeah. Or you could also make it so that like, oh, when H.P. Lovecraft was writing about Cthulhu, he was writing about this piece of the source wall and that sort
Oh
of stuff.
shit!
And it's like that's what what that comes from. Yeah, it's really
I
great.
I didn't think that whole piece of the source wall thing was going to be important, but Philip Kennedy Johnson's like, no, it's actually very important.
Well, again, I think that's going to feed into the whole war world stuff that's coming up
Yeah,
with like Grant Morrison and whatnot, because that's what like the Superman book was the final issue of Clark Kent's Superman this week.
right, right. We actually get to learn more about these Kryptonian refugees and what their deal might be. Finger quote question mark. They seek to imply that they're called the Phalasians, and they're from like a lost splinter tribe of Kryptonians who were shunned for their scientific beliefs and went elsewhere in the universe.
Kryptonian Scientologists.
Literally, Kryptonians. Holy shit, that's right. They worship a scientist. Oh my god, how did I not see that? Holy shit.
They shot themselves into space to go like blow up in volcanoes with nuclear weapons or something.
And they never got powers until right now. They're getting powers for the first time.
Yeah, which is why they're slow to like get them, because they've never seen like a yellow sun or anything.
Right, so it's a whole big deal for them. And Superman's like, well, if a whole, lost tribe of Kryptonians exists on Warworld, I have to go save them. John, who's been a wet blanket the whole arc, but for understandable reasons, is like, this is a trap, right? This is almost certainly a trap. And Superman's like, well, if it is a trap, I gotta go anyway.
Yeah, and then Batman's like, it's a trap, right?
God damn it, you sound like my son, Batman. Which is a nice explainer too, where it's like, well, why does Superman have to go and start a whole new team with the Authority? Because the Justice League don't help him.
Yeah, again, they're setting this all up. You can tell exactly where it's going. The Justice League are not going to be able to help them for some reason. There'll be some. Maybe it has to do with like Steve Trevor making a brief appearance in comics, like he usually does, to like say like to be like full pro America. We own the ocean.
He gets a big superstar appearance too. Hey kids, it's Steve Trevor. Remember, I exist, independent of Wonder Woman. Not really.
I said he appeared in 2 books this week, and that's 2 more than he's ever appeared in.
For real, it sure feels like it. Yeah, he basically says, America owns the ocean. Give me the piece of the source wall. And Aquaman's like, I'm not king, but on behalf of all Atlanteans, get bent.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. And Superman's like, oh no, my 2 friends are fighting. What are they gonna do? I want the Rock though, because the Rock talked to me and spoke of future events.
And we saw his little like Kingdom Come symbol and everything, which he'll wear in the Authority book.
Yeah, which, again, this whole future thing, is that Superman sending a message back in time to Superman, or is that the weird cloaked guy who was fucking around with Mom, you think, talking to him?
I have a feeling that it's going to be something time related, mainly just because the backup story with Midnighter is all based around time travel. And because on that story, because you didn't read that one, did you?
No, but now I want to go back because it's getting an annual.
It's fucking weird, man. It's so fucking weird. So Midnighter's got like the future Andre Trojan in his head while he hunts the present day Andre Trojan to stop him from going into the future to create Nerodium from Warworld slag and turning people into like weird like hybrid robot human stuff. He wants to basically upload people's consciousnesses into robots because he thinks is the next step in evolution, but he can't do it right. He's doing it in like a lab, and he's like doing it with people where he's like melding them together, and they're like robots with like stretched out people faces, and all they can do is like scream.
Oh yeah,
it's so fucking weird. He's managed to like reverse engineer a mother box thanks to he's kidnapped Shiloh Norman, the Mr. Miracle. He's ended up reverse engineering a mother box. Right now. Yep. And yeah, it's so fucking weird. It's just so fucking weird. And Midnight is just saying, I'm gonna go kill this guy, and then I've got to send messages to myself in the future, because he's not the Midnighter in this book is from future state. It's not the Midnighter from the current run. The Midnighter from the current run is in the future on Warworld with Superman.
Oh shit, man! is a pretty big concept too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess it should be for Midnighter. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, he is weird with his computer brain and everything. So yeah, he makes sense for this.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird.
All right then, yeah. I'm probably gonna have to go back and check that out because I want to check out the annual. I mean, these backups must be good and must be important if they're getting an annual.
Yeah, well, those stories lead into the annual.
Exactly, which is why I want to get up to date and know what's going on.
Yeah.
How many more books did you have, Max? That's basically it for me this week.
I only had Superman issue 32.
Okay, let's talk about Superman. It's more of fighting the not symbiotes.
Yeah, this is the final issue in this run before it changes over into John's Superman. And yeah, it's about them fighting the not symbiotes and trying to get them to stop leaving the planet in the dead Celestial that they had.
And it's not a Celestial, it's really a Celestial.
But what I really liked about the book was like, because like the last couple of issues, it's all like narrated by Clark through like the journal.
Yeah, interesting device.
And it's really great because like I'm pretty sure there's some meta commentary there about people who got fucking mad that John got aged up, because there's this great parallel where like the alien guy and his son, how that king wanted his son to take over from him, but like he hated that his son was like into science and everything because that was different, and you can't have different on this world. You've got to like conform to like a certain like standard and do nothing else. And I'm like, is that like a commentary, a little dig at the fans? I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Quite possibly, yeah.
But then at the end, Philip Kennedy Johnson then also echoes what I've been saying ever since the age up, which is that John is still the same person, except he's taller now. And that's exactly, literally what's said here in this book, where it's like he's still that kid, that compassionate, happy kid, despite everything he went through.
It's funny, I never thought about it that way, but you're right. Physically, he is older. Mentally and emotionally, he is still a child.
Yeah, and Clark says that resilience that he had, he could never go through what his son went through in those years that he left, and that's what makes him a Superman. And so whenever he thinks he doesn't measure up to being a Superman, he is a Superman because he's going to be the Superman that people start measuring themselves up to.
The Superman of tomorrow, if you will.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that sounds like a good ending to that story. I know when I had the choice between I can read this first or I can read Action first. Oh, I'm reading Action first.
Read Action, yeah. Action Comics was damn good.
What a weird, interesting time we're in now, where Action Comics is the one with the bigger, more interesting story that you got to check out.
It's going to be interesting once the Son of Kal-El book starts picking up, because obviously that's going to be John's Superman, and then Clark's Superman's going to be in Action. So it's going to be interesting to see like sales figures, like which one sells more.
For real, yeah, people are given the choice. I mean, the other one's got Tom Taylor on it, so there's got to be the Taylor bump involved.
Yeah, but also like I've seen so many people just get on this Philip Kennedy Johnson run because of his writing and because of like Daniel Sampere's art and everything.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy. Again, Phil Kennedy Johnson blowing up all over the place right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's going to be blowing up at both companies because he's got this and he's got that Extreme Carnage book starting soon as well.
Yeah, and he's still doing Alien.
Still doing Alien. Man, someone broke my heart about Alien when they said, hey, that main guy, like the old dude, the old action dad and everything there, he's basically a self-portrait of the artist. And I'm like, fuck off, really? And then I looked into him like, oh my god, he literally looks like the artist. Holy shit.
That kind of makes sense because I know the artist on that book. I can't remember. I know it's not Salvatore LaRocca, is it?
No, I don't think so. But yeah,
I know that guy is like he did a lot of the Star Wars stuff, and it was notorious for like, oh, that's just like a screenshot. He's like,
or that's
traced over. Yeah.
Yeah, the artist literally made himself the hero of the book. I'm like, oh, fuck off, really? Someone told me that broke my heart because I'm like, oh, the first issue of this is pretty fun. It's Alien, but they're up in the whole cosmic horror thing and saying that Weyland-Yutani was into other evil shit that might be important there. It's like, and then like, oh, the main character is just a self-portrait of the artist. I'm like, no, oh, come on. I was a lot happier before I knew that. All right then. So is that everything from this week, Matt? Is that everything we did?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Anything to promote? Anything else you want to talk up in the next little bit?
Well, this week, hopefully, well, again, depending on like lockdown and everything, I'm hoping to do some more streaming. I started streaming FF7, the
Nice.
Intergrade, yesterday, and a lot of people really liked it. Going by the numbers on my stream and everything, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna also stream. I'm thinking either Yakuza
Nice.
or Persona 5. I haven't really decided
I
yet.
I just started what is it, Final Fantasy remake there because I had it sitting
Yeah,
around and because God knows I need to start more games that I don't finish. So yeah, I started that one.
it's
I
pretty
really
good, isn't
enjoyed
it?
it.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. I got to the train there. It's very cinematic. It's very bouncy and everything. I dig it.
yeah.
Again, just not enough time in the day. I need a freaking day off where I can just buckle down on games.
Well,
I'm
I
still
don't
making
think there's any like big games coming out over the next couple of months, so like yeah, you've got time.
It is, and like I don't have a PS5 yet, and I pretty much vowed to myself like I should stop buying games until I get a PlayStation 5 and finish some of this other stuff. Then
Mhm.
I saw like those Wolfenstein games for like $19. I'm like, oh, I never played those. Those have been on my list.
They are
Okay, after
really
this,
good.
I'll
The
stop.
first
I'll
two
stop.
are really good. I haven't played Youngblood, but I have heard like mixed things.
Yeah, I heard mixed things on that one too. But the other ones are the ones I really wanted to play.
Yeah.
Which Yakuza are you doing?
Well, I've got Kiwami installed, which is the
Nice,
remake of the first one. But
love it.
I've been told I can do Kiwami 1 and 2 and then go back to 0, or I can do 0 first.
You
It's
will
like
you will appreciate Zero more if you know the plot of
yeah.
Yakuza One.
I thought I might do that. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll probably do that.
Because there's a lot of mythology gags and a lot of other stuff, and
Yeah.
also basically the whole Majima story really only works if you knew Majima as a bad guy in the first one.
Okay.
For them to man, Majima has such a crazy history of being this bad guy, being this recurring boss, being your reluctant Vegeta friend in the other series, to now him just being like the secondary protagonist
Yeah.
of the franchise. It's so fucking to where in Kiwami 2, they made new material for him for a whole other side campaign.
Oh, nice.
I know, I cannot believe it, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course I can believe it because Majima's dope as fuck. He's the best. I love him. I really want to play the new one too, Like a Dragon, but I'm waiting for next gen to play that one.
I
'Cause it
just
looks
saw
amazing.
that came up on Game Pass. I'm like, oh, I want to install it, but yeah, I'm like, oh, I want to play it on PS5 though.
I almost got Game Pass because of that. Because I'm like, ooh, I really want to play that because I love my Yakuza series, but I should really wait to have something on PS5 to play. Yeah, that was like on everyone's Game of the Year list. Even people who've never really seen Yakuza or gotten into it,
Mhm.
they're like, oh, this I like.
Yeah,
This I can dig. All right then, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone who super chatted on YouTube.
yes,
We really
thank you.
appreciate that. That helps keeps the light on. That helps keep us going and everything in these trying times. What is it again? If you're a patron, you'll be able to get this episode first before anyone else in audio and visual form. You can also watch/listen to the newest episode of Capes and Crooks, which is up there right now. We streamed that. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So get ready for that one if you're so interested. I also launched a little side audio series there called Behind the Adventure, where I basically do like my own behind the scenes as a dungeon master if you're interested in running your own games, or if you just can't get enough Capes and Crooks content. That was a lot of fun to do, and I'm going to try and keep doing that as we move forward.
Awesome.
All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll be back again next week, same time on Twitch and YouTube. So until then, everyone, bye-bye.
See ya.